up, everybody? This is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and I am back with another Spooktober episode featuring The Exorcist Believer. So, my guest today is Max from XVPW. What is up? How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I watched your Halloween episode, and I do agree with your guess that the five best mics is Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, and then you got Michael Myers, Mike Tyson. I want to add another one in there, the best Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo.
Okay, well,
What?
okay.
What's
I'm
funny?
glad you put Angelo in that.
Yeah, I like Michelangelo. He's the best Ninja Turtle. One of the best mics ever. So we got the top five mics.
Okay.
What? What are you
I
laughing?
don't know why you bring it up, Michelangelo. I mean, I kind of agreed to an extent with
So what's the top five of mics? So you put Michael
I don't
Jackson
really
as
like.
number one?
He's definitely my number one. Yes,
I agree. I like Michael Jackson's number one. What's your number two?
for me, yes. I would
Michael
probably
Myers
put
is number
Jordan.
two, or Michael Jordan? Yeah.
Well, it will be Jordan.
Okay.
Just because of his what you call it. And then I'll say Mike Tyson is cool for me just because he was,
Mm-hmm.
from what I remember of watching him or when I was little, anytime that his matches were bought, which I always thought was a waste of money, he always ended it really quickly. So it's like, oh, you paid all this money to watch him beat somebody in like 2 seconds. Crazy work. Um, so, and as far as I don't really care about turtles like everybody else does to that extent. So, but he alright, I guess. Yeah, you know, I don't normally like Michael, so have beef with them. But with that being said, we did see Exorcist Believer or the Exorcist Believer, and it's I guess a continuation semi. It's not really a sequel. I guess it is a sequel. It's not a reboot. I guess it's somewhat of a sequel from the very first Exorcist from the 70s.
We should have
Linda
watched.
Blair.
We should have
What?
watched that. We should have watched
Didn't I?
that. That's your
Didn't I
fault.
tell you we should? That's not my fault. I already watched Exorcist for this month.
Yeah, without me.
I told
That's
you I
fine.
did. I told you I did because
Yeah, without
know.
me. Without me. It's fine though. You were prepared.
I am.
I
Oh, first of all,
wasn't.
Exorcist was one of my favorite movies, so of course I have to watch it every October.
Oh, you watch it every October.
Yes, I do actually. No,
know
I
you.
watch certain horror movies on a regular basis.
4 years I've known you. We never watched The Exorcist.
You don't even like watching horror movies.
Yeah, you did. We went last year. We watched the Halloween. Then we binge watched Conjuring. We binge watched Insidious. Then we watched Dracula. Right?
We watch Dracula. You wanted to watch. I'm not a fan of
watch Frankenstein. We
That
watched
was you.
Freddy, but no, we never watched.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite slashers. Yeah.
Yeah, we never watched Freddy.
You was creeped out about Witch Color. You would have definitely been creeped out by the original Exorcist. But I also could have sworn I told you like a few weeks ago that we need to watch it. And you was like, why? And I was like, because it'll make sense to rewatch it if you don't remember.
No, you know what we're gonna watch now? The extended.
No, we're not.
I'm just gonna call it the extended because you're.
No, we're not.
For the people who are listening or watching this right now, we're talking about Lord of the Rings. We're gonna watch the extended.
I'm not watching that. Take this in.
Yeah, we are.
I'm not watching that. No, I'm not watching that. Pure shenanigans.
We watched.
You got that. We watched Insidious here for Insidious 5 though.
But yeah,
and you
carry
didn't
on.
even watch all the Insidiouses. You stopped watching. We were supposed to watch 4. You was like, I don't need to watch 4. I'll just watch 5. It doesn't matter to watch that one. So we didn't watch all of them. We could have.
But yeah, Exorcist.
Okay, so
you're carrying off
anyway.
here. Come on, you're hosting. You're hosting right now.
Yeah, well, you the one doing
focus. I can't talk about Lord of the Rings. You gotta focus right now. So it's Halloween. Okay. It's Halloween. We gotta talk about The Exorcist, not Lord of the Rings, miss. Hi.
Anyway, so this is like I guess a sequel to the original Exorcist, but it starts off with these two girls, and I say this because a part of me, just as a person, a black woman, person of color, I just feel like some of the stuff she was doing all willy nilly. I didn't particularly like, just because why are we going to the woods? That's always a no for me personally. But anyway, these two girlies go to the woods to talk to. Well, they start the movie off in Haiti with a nice blessing, which I thought was really sweet for the mom who was pregnant, and I thought that was really sweet, honestly. I don't know if you know anything about any traditions in particular with Caribbean cultures, and Haiti is definitely one of them. That's not too far of a stretch from what they did, and I thought that was a really nice showing of that. But anyway, 13 years later, they're in Georgia, and stuff happens, and spoiler alert because it's a pretty new movie. The mom does die,
You give
and
it
now
spoiler alert. Yeah, you have put on the
I just
title.
gave it just now. I gave it just now because I didn't start really saying anything yet, so I'm saying it now. Um, why are these so difficult? Um, he's now a single dad,
Oh,
taking care of his daughter, and she wants to talk to her mom, and in that I get that aspect of wanting to speak to your parent, but you went into the woods, which is always a no. You don't go to the woods. You don't go alone to the woods. You guys are telling like you're doing nonsense by lying to where you are. That could just lead to so many things, and so pretty right in the beginning of this, for the most part, they're missing like for a couple of days, 3 days to be
three,
exact.
3 days.
And so, and I'm gonna actually talk right after I say this, but like for me, it was just, I guess that was more of a more current type of horror movie vibe when you have a situation like this and then it's just nothing's there. That falls a little bit more in line if you know Bloomhouse, which I believe this is theirs. Uh, that paranormal thing of having things like not be there. And so it wasn't originally a typical what you get out of a possession movie or in possession in general, when a person's like, this is kind of happening slowly. It's just like they were gone for a couple of days. And so before I get to the next part, what were your thoughts in the beginning of the movie going up into that?
So I like the first 40 or 30 minutes of the movie. So it was like the Haiti part, the the dad getting to know the daughter and all that stuff. That was pretty cool. Like everything leading up to it. So the missing and all that it was great. It was great. Like because I think what in the first Exorcist movie it was kind of like that. It was like building up. So the first 30 to I guess 40 minutes was like really really good. The missing and because we got a lot of backstory of the two girls and no because they didn't show the white girl's parents. What's her name?
Wait, the girl, her friend, or Reagan?
Reagan. Yeah, it's Reagan, the white girl.
From
Her
the original
no
Exorcist?
no 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 not Reagan. The white girl from the movie from the
Yeah,
Believer. Yeah, her friend.
yeah.
Because we didn't get that till the dad
I think her name is
drops her off.
Catherine.
Yeah, Catherine. Yeah. So the mid. So we didn't get her story yet. So it's only about the dad and the daughter and all this. So we got some backstory. I liked it. Yeah, because it was good. We got some backstory from both from the daughter and the dad. You know. So I like that, and the whole like he didn't want to bring up the mom. Like, oh, where did you get that scarf? And clearly we know that okay, she really misses her mom already. The dad's trying to, I guess, get some closure, or they don't want to bring that up to her. That's cool. What else? What else from the dad? Oh, he's a boxer. Clearly, he showed that. That's cool. What else does the dad do?
Well, he was a photographer. I'm surprised you don't remember
There
that.
you go.
You're a
Yeah,
photographer.
photographer. Yeah, he's a photographer.
So, like, that's his
Yeah.
main job.
Yeah,
Photography.
there you go. That's his main job. He's a photographer. That's cool. He takes pictures. Oh yeah, that's right. And in the beginning, he took the wife's picture. I just forgot. Yeah. All right. So we got some build up. The missing part. Are we talking of them just missing or the after of the missing? They
Just,
didn't get found
just
yet, right?
up
Want
to
to talk
them
about when they got
missing.
found? What?
Yeah, I plan to next.
Okay, so yeah, so the missing part, yeah, so that's when they're missing. I wish we got some little backstory of her other friend, because I felt like the other friend didn't really like Catherine, right? Yeah, right. So yeah, I wish we got some little backstory behind that because I felt like okay, I guess that's a D or F plus character like we shouldn't care about, but clearly there should be a reason why she didn't like Catherine. I hope that's the real name, by the way. Could be messing that up.
I think her name is Kat. Let me see, because now you're making me question. So now,
I know.
What's her name? I'm gonna double check it right now. I'm gonna double check. Oh, okay. Why are we playing games? Why are we playing games? No.
Yeah, I'll just.
I'm trying to. I wasn't typing it in. So I'm now on the page.
Exorcist believer. Cast. There you go. All right. Yeah, it's Catherine.
So yes, her name is Catherine, and the other little girl name is
Angela.
Yes, Angela's the black girl. Catherine's the white girl. So it's Angela. Catherine. Yeah.
So yeah, I wish we could have got a little backstory of why her other friend didn't like Catherine, or the dad. That's cool. But yeah, so yeah, I'm fine. I like the first 30 to 40 minutes of the movie, so we got some backstory about that. So they're gone. They're missing already. The parents are trying to look for the. So I guess we could. So you continue with your little spoiler. So what happens after?
We're discussing it, so I have to spoil some parts. So yeah. Anyway, they're gone for 3 days. They were found by a boy, which I'm gonna assume they were the reason that horse went down. Just because again, spirit supernatural, it made sense for the horse to go down. But he finds them in the barn.
Oh yeah, that's right. The horse went down, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the horse was like pretty much dying, and the dad told him to go to the barn to find something, and he found the girls in the barn, and they were gone, which they thought was supposed to be only a couple of hours. They were gone for 3 days.
So why 3 days? Remember? Do you remember why 3 days?
Yes, the Catherine's mom felt that it was 3 days to represent also that she said the story of when Jesus dies on Good Friday and comes back. He's gone for 3 days, and she says that he goes to hell during that time and comes back to tell the story of how he overcame evil, etc., etc. And she thought that's what it was representation of the 3 days. So that's what Catherine's mom said. So they were gone for 3 days at the doctor's office. They did typical stuff you expect them to do for somebody who looks like something bad happened. Their feet were bloody and like scarred, and I'm gonna say burned. They had like all these scratches on them to help me, which was a very nod to the first Exorcist, because that's what Reagan had on her stomach, I believe. And they did a rape kit, which again correlates with some child who looked like they might have been hurt in some capacity. But then there you kind of see where it was pretty early with them as far as how it started to look like these girls were something was off with the girls. Just for how they were acting at the hospital. The story was the same, but they were not being themselves, and it was even more prevalent, which is for me where we got a little bit more insight. Like I guess first into Angela when she got back home, where you saw kind of the stuff happen in the background, which also knew something else was in the house clearly or with her. When she was flicking the lights, and I know you was a little bit startled by that part.
Oh, was it? But what are you talking about?
You were. It's fine. You were.
No.
You were.
You were like covering your eyes and stuff like this.
I never cover my eyes for a movie. I was just watching half the Saws. I watched 7 of the Saws today, so yeah.
Okay, so don't. We're sidetracking now. We're supposed to be about the Exorcist, not about Saw.
Yeah, what I was just saying is that I'm not gonna cover myself for that. And then we kind of get a little bit insight into Catherine's family, which was clearly they were a church family. The fact that the mom got her home, it was like, oh, we're going to church in the morning, which personally, as a mom, I would have kept my kid home, at least for the weekend, to kind of get her in a better space. And you can kind of see that they were also about appearances, which is very obvious with how the dad was acting in particular with Catherine at the pew. When she was like clearly out of it, she was pulling her hair out of her scalp. And then eventually she'll wind up doing stuff to the communion and wine. And then she'll say the body and the blood a couple of times in the middle of the aisle going towards the pulpit. And then we also see Angela kind of getting put into a hospital because clearly she's also now acting up. And so now we all know.
Was this the hospital or the asylum already?
The asylum is after that. It was the hospital again at first. Because that's when the nurse, the neighbor who lives that had lived next to them was the one who helped put her down to kind of calm her down. So that was she was at the hospital.
So they were still in the hospital. That's right. Correct.
So like after that, I guess to an extent, I also understand the dad not really wanting to hear that it might not necessarily be something spiritual, because a lot of people, especially if they're not religious, don't necessarily believe that. But yeah, we kind of the neighbor is something is said to the neighbor from Angela that implied that this is something a lot more.
And the neighbor is Anne. Anne, right? Anne down. Yeah, Anne. I like how the cast's name is Anne and the neighbor's name is Anne.
Yeah, that's cool. Like Katie from Paranormal Activity. I think her real name was Katie as well. But yeah, she pretty much says something. Angela says something to her. Possessed Angela says something to her that nobody should have known, and that's usually a sign, personally, for me. If you know things I didn't tell you, or nobody else could have been aware of, how did you find this out? These girls are like 13, so they're not like, I'm sure they know how to use the internet, but that's not what I mean. Just like they're 13, they're not sitting here doing stuff like that to that extent.
Was this taking place on 90s or no? It's not taking
place. No, this is supposed to be 2023.
2023? Okay. Yeah, because they showed. Yeah, that's right. All right.
Because she was 13, I think the mom supposedly died in 2010, so it's about right. It adds up. And so, just the span of the neighbor kind of having to convince the dad, Angela's dad, that this is not her having a breakdown or her dealing with the trauma. Even though she did have some trauma, it was the fact that she was possessed, and clearly this is sometimes you have to look outside of things. And also, if you're pretty non-religious in these possession movies, you're usually ripe for the picking with somebody being possessed because you don't believe. And then we lead them up to the Catherine's house, where this is for the first time. Well, this is the second time that really got on my nerves personally. Just because he was extra when they was found, and then he was mad extra while the mom is dealing with the daughter, Catherine, and the siblings. He's outside being weak because he's weak. And so, because things start moving towards possession stuff at the Exorcist part after that. So, what were your thoughts now leading up to?
Sorry. All right, so we're stopping in the bathroom scene. Right.
We're stopping. I went past that. So we're stopping when he went to get. I probably should have mentioned he went to get Reagan's mom, because I forgot about that. Once he believed that she was telling the truth, Anne was telling the truth, he went to go get Reagan's mom, and she came to the house with him to Catherine's house. So that's where we're at when they went to get Catherine.
Went to get Catherine.
When the dad was outside, like crying, while the mom was inside, and she stabbed up Reagan's mom in the eyes.
Oh shit! Okay, damn. Yeah. Okay.
It literally happened, because after that is all the possession Exorcist part after that.
So. Damn. Okay, so you mentioned a lot of stuff. Okay, so because like she was in the asylum and all that. All right, so I felt all that you said. Right, I felt so. I think the reason why I enjoyed one is I feel like everything led up. Like there was like weeks, right? Like first she went to the hospital, then she went to the asylum, then they did a lot of testing on her and all that stuff. You know, and I think that's why people enjoyed one, is because you saw the buildup of, and I think each scene of possession was like, before even the Exorcist part, was like 10 minutes or something. Like first they're singing the piano, and her first thing that she pissed on herself, right? You know, that was like one of the first ones. The next thing you know, she went to a psychiatrist asking what's wrong. So in this one, oh, two girls, double possessions. Oh, we're in for a treat. Like double the fun, double the possession stuff, double the scenes. And I felt everything was just from the hospital scene to, I think the best scenes was the lights flickering. I think that even the audience were like, oh shit, you know, this is crazy. Then then from there, one of the best scenes too was the church scene, where Catherine was, you know, with the whole water, the body, the blood, all that stuff. Like that was a cool scene. But I felt like, even though, like, damn, like she's pulling her hair and all that stuff, like I felt, again, he even said it, that damn, like she just rushed the daughter to church, you know. And I felt like, like that there should have been a little more back to it. Like, all right, the dad and the girl, I forgot his name. Damn, I'm really horrible with names. Victor and Angela. We got a little bit more of their backstory of like what happened to you, what happened to the back, on what happened in the woods. You can tell me, you know. We didn't get that with Catherine and Miranda, with the mom, you know, and the dad too. So it kind of sucks that we didn't get their little backstory of what happened, why were you in the woods, all that stuff. So I kind of and that was, and I think that's why I enjoyed The Exorcist Part 1 more, is because you saw the buildup between the mom, Reagan, and all that stuff. So now you and I think they did the testing. Okay, you mentioned that. From there, we got a little bit more tease of the bathroom scene, which was pretty cool in a way, but I felt they could have done a little bit more with that too. Because I feel like, I think the reason why we enjoy the possession movies is because we like to see the buildup of each possession. And I felt like, damn, church scene and all that stuff, these girls are like almost fully possessed already. Part 1, even in the Conjuring movies, like we saw each buildup leading up to the final climactic scene. We didn't get buildup here. We get, oh, that's it. You're gonna see this girl possessed in less than like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Boom. So I'm just like, and I felt, and not only that, but we didn't get a lot of backstory from even the parents. The only backstory we got, or the character development we got from the parents, is the mom is really religious. Catherine's mom is really religious. She believes in it. The dad is just a douchebag dad who only cares about, like, you know, daddy's little girl, you know. And Victor, we got more character development from Victor during the possession while her daughter is being possessed. So we got the backstory of Victor saying he really cares about her daughter. He wants to investigate. He showed how strong he is. Like, I just want to find my daughter. You know, okay. What can you tell me about what's happening with my daughter Leslie? Can you tell me Catherine's mom? Like, all right, what is this? You know, we got, and was it Anne, the nurse? We got a little bit more character development from her through Victor, because we found out, you know, that, oh, she's the neighbor. It is funny because we got more character from the neighbor than we did from Catherine's parents, and I kind of got a little upset by that. because like damn, like, and we didn't show. They showed more of Leslie. Angela. We got more character development from Angela than we did from Catherine, and there's supposed to be 2 characters that we should care about, and we only got 1. So I'm just like, what else? So then we met Ellen, Chris MacNeil, and I felt like that was just a cameo. Like I think the director was like, hey, we're gonna get her. Like I'm wondering right now if they didn't have Chris MacNeil in it, and it was just another Exorcist movie, I felt like I would have been fine with it, because even that was rushed. The Chris Ellen, Chris MacNeil's character. I felt like we got her cameo. You got your 10 minutes in. Even there wasn't even no like, it was just build up. We didn't get enough character development from her. From that scene alone where Leslie is talking to the dad, Victor was talking to Chris. So there you go. We reached that point. I felt like I rambled, but whatever.
No, you're fine. No, I'm gonna have to agree with you there, just from a horror movie standpoint. And
and you mentioned the stabbing with the eye. Okay, so yeah, I'm not done yet. Okay, because boom, boom, he got stabbed. Yeah, but yeah, so we should have got a little bit more screen time with Chris talking to Angela when she's talking to the daughter at the asylum part. I thought they're gonna communicate. He just said, I know who you are. That's it. Right? That was it. Like there should have been more screen time from her. Like it was great. Like when you talk about special cameos, you talk about like, all right, the first time Spider-Man was in the Avengers Civil War, he got hired. Boom, you're gonna get a lot of screen time. You're gonna see a lot of Spider-Man in this Avengers Civil War movie. For her, Chris MacNeil, because that's the reason why people wanted to watch this, not only because of the Exorcist of 2 girls getting Exorcist, because when you said the Exorcist, believer relating to the Exorcist Part 1, like, oh man, I'm gonna watch it because not only got 2 girls, but we gotta watch it because of her, Chris MacNeil. Remember, we're gonna watch You Got Served because Chris Brown's in it. Nope, he dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That's the wrong movie. That was Stomp the Yard with Chris Brown.
Stomp the Yard, yeah, Stomp the Yard, right? People wanted to watch Stomp the Yard for Chris Brown.
Not me, but yeah.
He dies in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Oh, we're gonna watch Exorcist Believer. Why? Because the mom is back and she's gonna talk to these 2 girls real quick. Nah. She's gonna get her eyes poked and she's gonna die in the first attempted to die in the first her cameo scene plus that probably altogether 15 minutes. And that kind of sucks because a lot of people want to watch that part of her communicating with the 2 daughters. And she only talked to Angela probably once, and she had a little scene with Catherine, and they only did that scene to pay homage to the first one. That's really about it, And there was no build up to that. Chris MacNeil only talked to Victor. That's in 10 minutes. Say, hey, what's your backstory? Okay, well, this happened to my daughter. All right, there's a little backstory of what happened. Let's catch you up on 20 years because I'm technically 90 years old. And if she had experience with this, why would you go upstairs by yourself? That's what that kind of bothered me a little bit. It's not out of nowhere. You're just this strong, independent woman. Wouldn't just give you PTSD in a way? Crap. I only experienced this with my daughter. I don't want to relive this again. So why would you go there by yourself? And
I don't know if I would say PTSD, but I think she should have had some sense not to go in there by herself, though. I didn't understand why she did that.
You're a 90-year-old woman. You don't want to do this by yourself. And They should have and that's another part is they didn't show why the parents and their because Catherine had siblings. They should have showed scenes from that of like why they're by themselves. Why what happened? After church you just took her home. After that church scene that you caused that people could have filmed and everything. This is 2023. They probably had a TikTok or whatnot. That could have been in the news and before 5 o'clock. This is a church on a Sunday, and you're causing all this hysteria in the front, and next thing you know, you took her home. Like what happened back there? That could have been a really dope scene of possession. Another one. I'm just like, damn, you just rushed through all of this. So it kind of, Chris did Victor and Chris on the drive there talked, along the way. We could have got a little backstory there. There's just a lot of like empty scenes, and I hope that in the DVD version or something, there's some extended scenes, because I felt like they chopped it up and they could have showed a lot of stuff. Another reason why in Exorcist, the first one, especially the first one that came in the movies, I'm pretty sure that was still good, but they showed a lot of deleted scenes in the remake, and not the remake, but more deleted scenes that showed character development of each possession or scenes from, because they didn't miss nothing there. You showed everything. This one is like, all right, well, Catherine scared her siblings and whatnot, but we don't want to show you that, so let's just, because how many times they had to go back into the room and do it again, back to the room, not even the Exorcist part, just back into the room. Let's tie her up because she's going crazy. Okay, now back to the room again. Oh my gosh, she's doing something with a cross. Okay, back to the room again. Twist your head around. Back to the room again. I can't. They showed so much scenes of each that we didn't get none of this in the Believer one. But yeah, hi. Okay.
No, I agree with. I do think some people said it's part of possession movie fatigue. I think if a possession movie is done well, it's fine. Do I think there have been a whole bunch of possession movies that are not well? Absolutely. Why would I know this? Because I've probably watched almost every possession movie, because paranormal movies are my favorite horror movie. With this being said, I do agree. I would have absolutely loved to see those the Catherine siblings react to her at home, because we got very little of it at the church pew when they were kind of looking at her really. They clearly was uneasy. They was looking at each other, and they didn't really say much. You can tell they felt really uneasy. It was in their expression. It would have been nice to see how I did like with The Conjuring, which is one of my favorite movies. Is even before the mom got possessed, it was the little things that was messing with everybody in the house, except for the dad, because he was like the only one who really wasn't around because of his job. But like it messed with all the sisters in different ways. The spirits were messing with the sisters in different ways. Started with the youngest one. Why the friendly one went to her because she was a little one. She's not, children are usually more inclined to see a spirit because they're not going to rationalize it. Adults going to rationalize. And then the thing with Christine first seeing it, or the fact that the other daughter was sleepwalking when she hadn't done it in years. Stuff that she kept going to a spot that implied something happened. Or the oldest daughter, when she finally saw it, it was on top of the thing, and where it messed with Nancy. It was so many different little things way before the mom got possessed. That was all building up to this was getting bad. And it started with just killing the poor dog Sandy, who knew something was off from the very beginning. And yes, to be fair, the Conjuring stuff with Annabelle, which I thought was a nice way to introduce the Warrens to everybody. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to agree. I do think we should have gotten. I don't know why Chris went upstairs. Lucky
all I know is that
it at home. That would exhaust. What are you doing? Why are you going upstairs?
That church ride home, the church ride back home, must have been a very awkward situation for the kids and the mom, because you're taking your possessed daughter back home. I'm pretty sure she's the talk of the town, or the and I'm just like, why would you take her back home? Are you that, and that's an awkward situation.
I think a part of that was they had an image. You can see that the way they were acting when they were
Yeah.
asking about the cops, where it was all an image they were trying to portray, and that was the problem because it wound up causing ultimately
like what
the
did
ultimate sacrifice there.
Yeah, like and this is happening in church already. So what did the priest was just in shock? Like you just transitioned to a different scene because it ended with the priest like, huh, So like, what was there's a term, not the conjure. Nah, I forgot the name, but like you have the church hardcore Christians there. What do you think they would try to help Catherine in a way, or like they're just in shock? Like the priest is in shock, but of course the priest was also supportive of the family, and that was because he was part of the next scene, the big Exorcist scene. But now you have the churchgoers and you have Catherine. Like they could have been another scene right there, and the priest was just in shock, like, okay, so you're just gonna end church. You're clearly like your daughter is somewhat possessed or she's making a big scene. That part, like they could have been something there, or like they could have had her in the back and asking Catherine what's wrong, or what's this and all that stuff. And I felt like that could have been a very important scene because
Yeah,
like
well,
in Exorcist
I
1,
think it was a lot of they had an image because even when she was doing that in the church, the dad kept telling her to stop it, and it was very clear that she wasn't acting like herself from the very beginning. I don't know how he didn't keep that.
Yeah.
I feel, and I say this again as a mom, but like I feel like I know my kids very well. That if that's like way off of what they would normally do, and he did mention the whole free spirit, but free spirited kids ain't sitting there like pulling their hair out from their roots or like knocking over communion wafers and wine cups when she's probably been going to church since she was a little girl. I'm sure that family had her in church from the very beginning, so it's not like she's unaware of any of that.
Yeah.
I do think we should have gotten a scene at least showing some kind of interaction with her in that house before Chris got there.
Yeah.
But I guess because we're now at like the Exorcist part, and it was implied after Victor apologized for getting Chris, even though it was kind of partially his fault but partially hers. When she was saying that it's like the community aspect, what I did appreciate about this, and I saw a comment on Facebook which made me laugh because it was like the spiritual Avengers. It's like they had like all different types of like things happening, and I did appreciate that part. In regards to this was the first time like there was obviously the Catholic part because most people when you think of possession movies you think of Roman Catholics because they're the ones that go to the Vatican and the Pope and everything and that's usually very Catholic. And not to say other religions don't do exorcisms because they do, but that reference of having to go through a bishop, having to go through the Pope, that's a Catholic thing. So to have the priest who didn't make the priest who didn't even get there right away, he took his time getting inside the room to help because he was, I guess, whatever he got told no. But and I guess I understand that as well. If anybody watched The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, that person went to jail for helping somebody in exorcism because somebody died. So like I understand in 2023 why you wouldn't want to do one or why you would say maybe evaluate them. But I feel like if a person is not speaking the language they never heard before at 13, again, or they're doing things like that shouldn't be doing, I feel like that should be an exception personally. But I did like that we had different types of Christian faith because clearly Anne, I think, was the one that was Catholic, but Catherine's parents were not Catholic. They were Christian, but they weren't Catholic. That was obvious. And I did like that there was even Victor's friend and neighbor who was also Christian, but he also dabbled a little bit with
character. His name was. He didn't have a name.
He said his name when he got kicked out of the house.
His actor's name is Norbert Leo Butz, but that's about it. Like he didn't have a name in the whatever the IMDb is right now. They don't have nothing for his character.
Let me see if I can find it on the. You said his name is his real name, so his name is Tony. in the movie.
Okay, Tony. Well, the priest's name is Father Maddox, so that's cool. And the pastor's name
Yeah,
is Raphael. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I see that. Yeah, I see that. So yeah, I'm guessing, yeah, the Catholic priest was Father Matt because they usually go by Father. That's correct for Catholics. I did like that not only was the root worker, she was a doctor as well, and so I thought that was pretty cool, honestly,
Yeah, she's
because
the MVP. I like. She was the
I
MVP.
I liked that she said she knew about science medicine, and she was very clear about that. But she also knew sometimes you can use science, and she was a root worker. And for somebody who dabbles in little stuff, I thought that was really nice to see that it wasn't. What I didn't like was Catherine's dad assuming she was doing something negative, and I did not like that at all because it's always that stereotype that if a person's not directly, she clearly also believed Christianity as well. She did it in some of the stuff that she was doing. So clearly there was some Christianity involved, and it usually is Christianity involved in root work. People usually just think it's something else. And so she had that, but she was clearly the only one who actually put some real effort into that because whatever she did started to work. And so even the whole tossing the water out to the east of the house, but making sure it's away from the house, and that's all root work. That is like never leave the negative thing in your house. You remove it. And so I thought to have her be there, even if Catherine's dad and their priest uh was kind of looking at her real funny, and I didn't like that necessarily, just because it kind of just what people assume other cultural type things are. I did like that one, she got the most headway, but also that by the when it got really to the nitty gritty, they were all kind of realized you kind of needed each other at that moment. Now, I think I had the issue with the father, and I get why he was told no, he's supposed to follow the rules. But in this regard, you already knew they were kind of, and I think him going in when things got really bad was the problem. Truly, I think if he didn't wait that long to go inside, he might not have died if you know he would have went in there before it got to that part, because they were really starting to mess with them by that point. That spirit was messing with them for like he was getting on the Victor's skin. It was doing everything with possession. That's what possession things do anyway. Is to get you upset, get you riled up, get you to turn on somebody. That's what it does. And so him coming in after all that, I'm like, dude, you probably should keep it like 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it would have gotten to the point where it's now they're having to kind of figure out what to do, or having Victor kind of deal with the fact that he did choose his wife. And I actually, not that I would pick my kid personally, but this is also a very, very real thing that usually in a situation like that, if you ask the mom, who would they choose? They're going to choose the child. But if you ask the dad in that situation, because they don't know the child, they'll choose the wife. And so that was very on it. And I was like, every time I think of that freaking movie, is it that horrible, horrible movie? Is it that movie with J Lo and Ben Affleck? It was so bad that it went straight to like it was in a movie for like a
Jaylee.
year.
Jaylee.
And I believe I was that the movie that I think J Lo supposedly died in like the first 10 minutes
I don't know. I
or
don't watch it.
something.
You watched
There was
it?
some I wanted because I know there's a movie when he plays her husband
The runtime.
and she's giving birth and she tells him to save the baby, and he resented the daughter for years
Oh
because
yeah.
the daughter lived and J Lo's character died, and so he was mean to her for years because he felt resentment, and that's a very real thing apparently, that men will choose the wives over the children. And so um in this regard, um I think he had to deal with the fact that yeah, you kind of did choose your wife, and not saying you shouldn't, but you probably should have chose your kid also. If she told you to choose the baby, you probably should have listened to your wife's words. And so obviously, I don't think the daughter knew that off top. I think the spirit told her that. I do. And it's said to hurt him, to cause the problem. And then even with, which is what again really pissed me off about the Catherine's dad. Like he's first of all, Catherine's dad was I call every horror movie husband for the most part. Roger from The Conjuring was pretty okay, but most horror movie husbands are absolutely atrocious. They are like so bad when it comes to dealing with possessions or dealing with the stuff kind of getting really shitty. They're nowhere to be seen. They're weak. They're like completely useless. And it's like, what are you here for? How do you help this scene? He was that bad. I was so irritated with him from the very beginning. He just irked me so bad. But then when he got there, when the spirits is doing what, of course, which is the now make you stress, now make you having to decide to cause problems among the group. oh, you're gonna choose one daughter, the other daughter. Here he comes talking about, oh, I choose you. Like, my guy, you didn't choose her at any time before then when you left the mom to deal with her by yourself while you was outside drinking and had the mom dealing with that by herself. You wasn't choosing her when you was sitting there yelling at her at the church when clearly she wasn't acting like herself. But you want to wait to the end to choose when the one time you probably should have kept it quiet. I did like that I earned a lot more respect for the mom during that. I truly did because she was really realizing that you kind of have to be together in this, and he wasn't getting it. But yeah, because we're to that part already. Because unfortunately, it gets very quickly to the exorcism, very quickly, and
Yeah.
there is much of, I guess they didn't do well of fleshing the story out. That if you're gonna have a quick movie, then you need to flesh out certain parts a little bit better, to make it work. And I
What's the
feel like
runtime
maybe
of
putting
the
Chris,
whole entire movie? I'm trying to find out what's the runtime. Because Jesus, like it felt very quick.
no, it definitely it's 111 minutes.
111 minutes, so 1 hour. Yeah.
Not even an hour and a half.
Right?
Well,
And the
no,
first
it's about an hour, about almost like an hour and 45 minutes, maybe.
and what's the
But
Exorcist?
like the
What was the
first
runtime of the,
Exorcist.
yeah.
Oh, I have to probably double check that.
That was, and that the Exorcist was at least 2 hours and something.
So the first Exorcist, let's see the original runtime. So damn, it's not even showing. Oh, this is giving me the novel. I need the actual movie. Hold on, because it's based.
The Exorcist.
I'm trying to. No, it's giving me the book. I'm trying to find the movie. Give me a sec. Here it is. Film.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
but I also think
Exorcist
it was less.
Yeah.
Don't give me Mr. Exorcist 2. That's another right for data.
Exorcist 2 was also close to 2 hours. It was 1 hour and 1 hour and 58 minutes. Yeah, and The Exorcist 1973, the release was 2 hours and 2 minutes. Oh, in theaters, the theatrical was 122 minutes. And the director's cut was 132 minutes.
Yeah, it's that extra creepy scenes. That was too much for theaters in 1973 or 1970, whenever the first one came out.
And this one was mad short.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because there was two different girls and two different families, they should have made it a little bit longer just to give.
Double
and while I did, it was nice to see. It was nice to see Chris. It was because I don't recall really seeing her. Like she kind of stayed away from the horror stuff after that. I felt like if you're gonna do the fan service by bringing her back, then do it well. I hated that she got hurt right away.
Yeah,
I hated that she tried to do the exorcism by herself. I was like, man, like I know that you studied it, but you're not a priest. Like I'm sure you wasn't going around the country. Like you might have.
She wasn't allowed to be part of her daughter's exorcism, and she had the guts to go up there by herself.
I mean, at that time, she shouldn't have been. She was too emotionally attached, and that's correct.
Yeah.
But I don't think even with her studying all the cultures types of exorcism, she should have been in there by trying to do one herself. Like, there's usually a reason why it's supposed to be somebody religious. They're usually their faith is a lot stronger than regular people usually.
Like the Exorcist part it's supposed to be like everybody knows, like at the end of every like those Exorcist movies or possession movies, that the last scene, which is the Exorcist scene, is supposed to be like one of the best scenes. That felt I felt it was rushed too, because similar to Titanic, the last 30 minutes or the last hour is the boat sinking. In The Exorcist, the last 30 something minutes, how many tries did they do? Like in The Exorcist alone,
they did some praying.
They did like 3 rounds, right?
and then then the lady did her thing, the doctor. And then they tried it again when by that point the spirits were saying they had to choose a daughter, and that's when the Catholic priest came in, but he wasn't even there long. I feel like
like they rushed that scene hardcore because I felt like the two girls should have done like one by one, like test each one of them out. And there was a comedic scene too. Like, damn, it didn't work. Like they look, that oh god, I felt that because that scene was also rough.
Well, I think they were together because it got both of them to the point where they were like they would sing, their hearts were beating in sync. So I guess I understood it being for them being together. I don't know. I felt like the
having
gotten there sooner.
My gripe is like when the priest was talking to, it wasn't the Vatican or something. It was the head priest.
No, it wasn't the Vatican, but it was
the group. I felt like, damn, they missed a really good opportunity there because they learned their lesson from the first one. And I felt like they could have because to say that, like, oh, she should go to mental and all that stuff, I do agree. But like I said, this movie was really rushed, so they didn't show, like, yeah, she was in an asylum, but like they didn't, why, they didn't go. Because in part one, the mom was talking to the head of every single doctor. Why? Because she was rich. She was talking to every single doctor.
Yeah, well, she had money. Yeah, she had money.
So it's like they could have like showed that, like they have to have the whole entire I wish I knew the name and whatnot, but to have all the priests deny the father, the other priests, like, hey, we're not gonna do this exorcism. That they have to find, like, no, like I felt like that was a missed opportunity, because then you could have had every single priest like, damn, this is a very powerful demon, and to have what's the father's name? Oh god. But yeah, to have the father go to the nurse and say, hey, do this exorcism by yourself. Like, no, like, why would you? That was also like a weird one for me, to have the nurse do the exorcism. Like, if the priest was smart, he wouldn't have told her to do that.
Yeah, I didn't get that either, and not to say she didn't have faith, because she did. And
she did.
She was going to be a nun, so she had to have some a nun. That whole being celibate, that's a Catholic thing.
Yeah.
So she clearly had faith strong enough. The problem I had with that is because usually, if you're Catholic, there are things to get ordained as those kind of things. There's a whole ceremony. I was raised Catholic, and even though I didn't do anything religious after that, even when you're doing confirmation as a Catholic, you're supposed to have a new name to technically your Catholic Christian life. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't do any of that. And so while I understand her faith was strong, it wasn't strong enough to deal with that. And it was obvious how everything started really going to shit when they started picking that how easy it was to get that group to kind of falter, which she should have been in there sooner. And I understand the other priests not saying it, because at the end of the day, it's something, and I'm sure if there's another part to it, I'm hoping not, but if there's a part to it, they will have to answer for the fact that priest died.
I felt the most experience, and they should have give her more screen time, was the root worker, the Okoi, the one who that one. I felt like she should have had more of that screen time, like not the nurse. It should have been her, because she dealt with stuff like this before, and she should have done more screen time to the point where then the priest came, But to have the nurse do it, nah, it should have been the root worker doing majority of that. She should have more screen time on that scene of like, okay, we're gonna do this. Like, clearly the priest is not gonna do it, so I'm gonna step up, And I felt like, I could have been another missed out, like, because it started off with that. It started off with that the voodoo, So why won't you end the climactic scene with the voodoo?
Yeah, well, she wasn't. It's not voodoo. Voodoo is different. That's
the root
work is very.
That could have been more of that scene, because that would have been cool. Because clearly the priest is not there. She said, "Okay, these kids are screwed. Like, we're not gonna help," which sucks in a way. So give it to let's make this movie about that, The nurse had no. The nurse should have just been there saying, like I knew a person. That's just could just been that scene. Like, hey, I know Chris MacNeil. Here's the book. That's it. Cool. The neighbor, Chris MacNeil, she cares about the boom, you brought Chris MacNeil into it. That's it. Oh, Chris MacNeil never experienced an exorcism. She's never seen it. Boom, have her there. Then she could talk to the two kids, all that stuff. Then let the voodoo kid happen. But no, she had to get her eyes poked.
Which I hate it. But yeah.
Because it made sense. She never participated in her daughter's exorcism. And here we go. Now you can participate in the exorcism, be part of it. She could have talked to Reagan. Those two girls could have talked to Reagan.
Well, Reagan only came at the end, I think.
Oh no, she could have tested. She could have talked to that. They wanted that nice extended scene, or bring back the scene from her talking to the daughter. Okay, now she could talk to two people. This movie had a lot of decent potential, but they had ups and downs, but a lot of downs towards the end of the scene. It's like but still a fun movie though. I still enjoyed it.
I mean, it was better than Exorcist 2 and 3. I'll say that. I hate Exorcist 2 and 3 so bad. People will argue. I just can't. But I obviously I like the first one better. I just thought there were so many things.
The first one had a lot of great moments, and even got a couple Oscars. Chris MacNeil character Ellen Burstyn had an Oscar for The Exorcist itself. Oh, what was it? Linda Blair, right? A little nice cameo.
I don't know, Linda Blair's Reagan. She came at the end, but I think her character only came because her mom got hurt. Because in the plot, she hadn't talked to her mom in years.
Yeah,
I think she hated that her mom wrote the book about the story in the first place. It's like, how do you try to get away from that? I think she changed her name and everything. They implied that she changed her name, so she didn't want to be associated with. Which I understand. Your mom's telling the story about you being possessed.
Yeah,
that's something you really want people to know. I get that. But yeah, I mean, it was all right. It wasn't like terrible because again, I like it better than 2 and 3. But I just wish.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish there were things like this is something if I give to an editor, they would have been like, Katrina, let's fix this, and I would have to have filled in parts that was clearly missing. There's
a lot of different parts, and the ending thing kind of bothered me a little bit too. It's like, okay, she goes back to school, so clearly
it was weird to me that the classmates didn't seem disturbed by anything. They had to know the girls were missing for 3 days. Yeah. And like it's like one of your classmates, two of your classmates are missing, and one of the classmates saw them walk into the woods and then they go missing for 3 days. So it was strange that when they were showing the girl who lied for them, reading the book where the girls were missing, that nobody seemed concerned that the girls are missing. I did think
and not only that, but
especially when they were searching by the school because they went into the woods by the school. There was cops there. Nobody seemed concerned that the girls are missing. And then when the girl dies, it's just like, oh, okay, well, back to normal.
See, the first, I like the first 40 minutes because they showed the girls missing, cops, cool, we got that. The ending was like, okay, we know that your friend did some crazy shit in the church, because clearly that would be the talk of the town, right? So she's associated with you. Like, what happened? Okay, now clearly she's dead because why? Well, the cops got involved. They know that two people died, which is the daughter and the priest. What happened? Clearly she should not. They could have moved away or something. Like, there's no way that like she can just literally go back to school like that and the class is not gonna eye her or something. And that part, a little like technically it shouldn't have a happy ending. It should just ended with that scene alone of the cops and everything. That's it. Like her daughter, that the daughter got saved, one died. That's it. It should just ended like that and live it like that. They try to end it with a happy ending. Like, no, there's no normal life for her.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree there.
Because
I don't.
in
I
the first
thought it was
Exorcist,
in 2023 to not have anybody worried about where those girls were, and they were looking right by the school because that's what they were
yeah.
looking, because the woods were right by the school. It was
Mhm.
very odd. I was just like, she went back to school. Nobody was like, "Are you okay?" And it was close enough that they showed the parents kind of dealing with the grief part, and that the nurse, the neighbor, was getting talked to by cops. So it was recent enough that it wasn't like a time jump where it would be like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe time has passed. No, it was pretty recent after, and she just went
Mhm.
back to school. And I'm like, so we're not questioning why she was gone for probably a couple of weeks, or
Mhm.
why none of the people, did she, was she not that important in the class? Did the teacher not give a shit? Like, I don't know. That was kind of weird to me. Um,
They should have
I
had
don't know.
a school scene. You know, like
Well, even if the school scene didn't happen, at
no,
least
no,
show
meaning like
like, she was
right after the kids were found, right? Normally, because it goes through different stages of possession, right? They should have had like, okay, we found the two girls, okay, you know, clearly, because right after that, the dad took the girl back home. The parents of Catherine took her to church. They should have been a middle scene of different phases of possession. So let's say the girls right after church or before church, you know, let's they're trying to go back to school, right? Oh, there's a school scene where like they're not feeling well. The principal's like, "What's wrong with you two girls?" or some shit like that, or you know, shit like that. Different possession scenes, but no, it's like it's weird. Like you just took him, like nothing happened. There's no character development of each possession because each possession there should be a character development of like, okay, now Catherine's not feeling well. Leslie's not feeling well. They're acting weird. Uh, the principal, call the principal. Okay, your daughters are being weird. Something must have happened in the woods or something. Why didn't you take them back to the hospital? They should be there. Oh man, hospital scene. We only
Well,
had one hospital scene with Leslie.
to be fair, I think Victor brought his daughter back right away because she got like started seizing the day where she woke up the very next day.
Yeah.
So she was at the hospital pretty quick. That other one though, like, they were home with her, and they was home with her for some time because he still had to not only figure out what was going on before she even moved to the asylum where they put her there, but then he had to go find Chris and talk to the neighbor and kind of deal with, okay, my daughter's possessed and I
Oh
don't really
yeah.
believe in this. So that is like, I just feel like, and while I'm sure that because the priest from their church was there, I just feel like it was just very odd that nobody seemed concerned if the ending implies that it was kind of right after. Because, like I said,
Yeah.
Anne was being talked to by cops, which implies that they were investigating the fact that priest died. And the little girl died too. That all happened, while they were all in that
Two
house.
people died in
Yeah.
that house, and the
Um,
police wants to know what happened here.
so
There's no happy
I
ending.
think that's weird that the daughter who was involved in that just went to school, and why I don't think the cops just her
Exactly.
because she's underage. You wouldn't question her. You question her dad. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot missing. I mean, I was glad. To be fair, I was glad the black girl didn't die because I was like, stop playing, guys. They're always killing black people. Stop doing that.
Mhm.
But I really did think Catherine should have died because her dad was an asshole, because he was. And that's unfortunate that the demon did what demons do, which is they trick. And I'm like, if you're supposed to be religious and you're in church, you don't know that. That's one of the things we always put. If you believe in Jesus and you believe in God and Lord and everything, you know that
Like the girls,
demons are able to trick. That's what they do.
like
So, like, how do
Olivia,
you not know?
yeah, the Catherine character and the Angela character, the girls played amazing roles to look believable. Like, I give them credit. The Olivia O'Neill, the Catherine character, she played a really good. Like, she looked exactly like Reagan, and Angela, Lydia Jewett, she played a really good possessed girl too. So I'm just like, all right, like these girls are pulling it off. They look scary. I just wish we got more. And there was no we had one vomiting scene. We had one vomiting scene. First Exorcist movie, you get all the vomit, non-stop vomit. Like we got legit, and there were what Linda Blair's character. That demon was cursing the hell out of the priest, like "fuck you, you motherfucker," like shit like that. We didn't get that in this movie. We got like "I know you," or like
Yeah, Angela cursed out Victor in the beginning. She did. Um, and I think when Chris came the character and she did at that time, but after that they were mostly just. I felt like what they were doing, they must have spirit that demon knew. It's like you go after if there's a group of people who already don't really trust each other, and it's clearly not that strong in faith because they clearly were not. The dad was crying every 2 seconds.
We
So
got
there's
we
nothing
didn't
wrong
get
with
enough
crying.
mind games from the demon, from the well, was it one demon or two demons? It's one demon,
It
right?
was
One demon.
one and just took them both. It was one.
Yeah, so we didn't get a lot of mind games. Like if there was a group of people there, each that action scene should have been like 30 minutes or like long. That could have been the second half of the movie right there, of like the demon messing with each person.
Okay, that's what they are. They're Baptists, which is still Christian. That explains it actually.
Yeah, so that demon should have played games on every single one of those of that group of Exorcist Avengers. Like that, we didn't get that. We only got them. We got them messing with only the parents. You know, like they were smart saying, "Don't touch them." I give them that. I give them that credit. Like, hey, don't touch them. Like, you cannot touch them. But no, like they didn't play enough mind games. They could have, yeah. There's a lot of missed opportunity. I mean, it could have been a movie, but yeah, this movie was really short. So the pastor played a good role. He saw what happened. Hey, your daughter caused a really big scene. What's happening? Oh, she's possessed. Well, let me help you. I'll be part of the exorcist, the exorcism of your daughter. There's a second one. Damn. Oh man. Okay. I'll still help. Is this yeah?
Yeah, I agree. I do think they probably put all that there though, because Chris did say that she studied all types of exorcism, so have different, try to get different religions there. Uh, there's so many things they could have done. But with that being said, as this
Oh,
is
and another one is like they didn't show how her daughter was able to communicate. Like there was that opening scene of her. I wish there was an opening scene of Catherine talking to Leslie, saying, "Hey, I know a way you can talk to your mom." There was no cat. It's just, "Hey, Catherine, can I sleep over your house today to do homework or some shit like that?" Or not? No, we're gonna go to the woods.
I think that's not too bad. Sometimes that's calling starting the sort of story starts there, so it's not bad. I just think it was weird that Catherine didn't tell her parents that she knew Angela, because clearly Victor knew her. He said he hi Catherine
Mhm.
to her in the beginning, but Catherine's parents didn't know who Angela was, which I
Yeah,
thought
like
was
there
very
was.
odd.
I felt like there should have
They
been.
and then they knew about the black girl who lied for them.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it wasn't terrible. But I do think there were a lot of things that was missing.
From
But
1 to 5, how many stars do you give it?
I'm probably gonna give it a 3.
Ah, you're too nice. I give
I don't think
like a
it's
2.
not a 1, because
No,
that's X's 2 and 3 is 1 to me.
I
And
give like a
and
two and a
that's
half. Well,
it's definitely not a 4. I feel like maybe a 3. And I
yeah.
think what makes it a 3 for me is honestly just I like the positive representation of the root worker. Truly. That's A plus in my book. And the fact that Angela did not die, because I'm tired of let people go in first in horror movies.
Clearly, she was not gonna die. They concentrated more on that character than the
I like that they
than
also
Ray.
implied it was also because she was protected before birth,
Yeah,
which would also explain why the mom died and she dead, even though he tried to save his wife, and the wife died anyway. Um, that it was clearly that blessing that the mom got in the beginning before she was born. So,
yeah.
but yeah, um, but otherwise, thank you for chatting with me about this movie. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you have going on.
You can find me in XVPW on YouTube. I do wrestling and WWE 2K stuff. That's about it. XVPW on YouTube, XVPW on Instagram, XVPW on Twitter. Well, you can find me.
There you go. And as always, guys, I am on Cat We Trust, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Use 3. Also, I will have all the links in the description, so go give a follow. Check that out. Sometimes I appear there. Sometimes do my stuff, do my jams and stuff.
I gotta show off my Jason shirt because it's Friday the 13th, but she's gonna air this on probably like October 21st or something. So I'm rocking on Friday the 13th.
October is such a random day. They'll probably be up for like a couple of days.
A couple of days, but not on Friday the 13th. So yeah, I'm rocking a Friday the 13th shirt. Look at it. Look at it. It's so cool.
You don't really care about Jason.
I like Jason.
No, you don't.
Jason's like my favorite Power Ranger too. See Jason. Then you got
Jason is not even your favorite Power Ranger. Why are we lying?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. See, you're sidetracking. You're supposed to be close.
I'm not sidetracking. You mentioned Power Rangers and you mentioned Friday the 13th.
You're sidetracking. You're sidetracking. You're supposed to close it off. You're supposed to end it on a good note. But now, yeah.
Not you using my line about ending things on a good note. That's Katrina's words. Okay, thank you very much. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening to us discuss Exorcist Believer. If you haven't watched it, we spoiled a lot, so you probably should pause.
Check it out. We nearly bashed the movie.
If they're like how I am,
bashed the hell out of this movie. You want to tell
my
me?
thing is this: I've watched terrible horror movies, worse than this. I usually will watch a horror movie just to see how it's going to be because I love horror. So if you like horror movies, check it out. But I feel like you're probably going to like the first one better. Some people do like 2 and 3, not me. But as always, guys, I will catch you on the flip side. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Catch you on the flip side. Later.